Okay, we'll call the meeting to order of the Planning Commission. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I'll take a motion to approve the order of agenda.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, going on to B, the minutes. Everybody had a chance to review the minutes. Take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item number 1, we'll ask Donald up to the podium.
Mr. Chairman, we want to verify that Commissioner Stowe.
Oh, sure, yeah. Scott, are you online?
I am.
Okay.
Thanks, sir. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Donald Kress of the Department of Planning and Development. Item number 1 here today, I'm going to talk a little slowly because our applicant is on his way here, is CC's first edition.
Would you like us to take a different order? We certainly could do that. We can,
We could do, well, if
item A
Mr.
is literally approve the order of agenda, so we could go back to it, and so.
Okay. Well, I tell you what,
If everybody's okay, are you okay changing it to move to item 2?
Yep.
Is there a motion to change the order of agenda?
I'll make a motion to change the agenda item 1 and move it to 2.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 so,
Any
Mr.
opposed?
Chair, then we have to verify that Mr. Sheeran, who is the applicant for item 2, is online as well.
Sure. Tyler Sheeran, are you online?
Good afternoon, guys. I am. I can
Okay.
confirm.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
Mr. Sheeran, we're actually going to do your item first here, so that's okay.
Yep.
So, thank you for your consideration, Commissioners.
Thanks, and then we'll just ask those online, Scott and Tyler, if you could mute while you're not talking, just to save the audio here. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you. So agenda item number 2, Ekman Edition, is a zone change located here at 1728 42nd Street South, 42nd Street, 17th Avenue, West Acres, I-29. There's a close-up of this sort of oddly shaped property here. Here are some views of it here, looking from 42nd Street West, looking along 42nd Street to the north here, and then south along 42nd Street. This property is zoned GC, General Commercial. The proposed zoning is MR3, Multi-Dwelling Residential. As we have Mr. Sheeran online representing Commonwealth Developers. They're based in Wisconsin, and they are going to intend to develop an affordable housing project here. Since housing is our topic of the day, it's just coincidental that this is before you this afternoon. There is a brief description of the proposed project in your staff report. The zone change is not based on what's going to be developed there, but for the Commission's interest, Mr. Sheeran did provide that description of the project. Again, pretty straightforward, just a zone change here. There's no growth plan that this needs to comply with. This area is not covered by a growth plan. Staff is supportive of this decision. As you see, there is MR3 adjacent to the subject property. That would be this orange color here. And with us on the phone again, we have Tyler Sheeran representing Commonwealth Development from Wisconsin, and also Mr. Bachmeyer, Dean Bachmeyer, who represents the current owner, Blazing Wings Property. Their transaction will be completed shortly after this zone change is done. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Donald. Any questions for staff? Yeah, go ahead.
Donald, what's the egress? How do you get into this property?
Well, we'll go back here. There is, it's tough to see on here, but there actually is a little driveway return in there. So there are negative access easements along this property that keep most of it from having entrances. The entrance is, I think, right about here. There's a break in the negative access easement right about here, which will be their access. And we've been working with the developer to make sure they're aware of that and they know how their project's going to fit on that because of that.
So it is on 42nd? Are you gonna
Yes,
be
the
able to
access
go
will be off 42nd.
left, right on there? there's nothing in the way of the street either, so they can turn left and turn in there and right?
At this time, yes, they would be able to do that, sir. There's a left, I think there's a center left lane. Yeah, there's a center left lane in 42nd Street there.
Okay, but they're not going through the back? The back side doesn't have an easement or a entrance behind
mean-
where corporate technologies, that building?
Do you mean this right in here?
To the west or east, I mean?
Okay. No, there actually is an easement in here that's on the plat for that. I don't know that they intend to use that,
Okay,
but they'll be coming off 42nd Street.
thank you.
This is their primary entrance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions for Donald? Seeing none, Mr. Sheeran, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your time this afternoon. I apologize I was not able to be there in person. But as Donald has mentioned, we are here seeking a rezone for multifamily. We believe it is consistent with the adjacent uses and believe the proximity to the West Acres Mall, adjacent movie theater, local food, hotels, etc., would boast for a great new senior housing community. And so with that, looking for your support and the approval ultimately of this rezone request.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing no questions for the applicant, thank you for being here. I'll open up the public hearing to see if anyone else is here interested in speaking on this item, item number 2. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, what are your wishes? Go ahead.
I'll make the motion to approve per staff's recommendation.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Holtz,
Aye.
Stoffren,
Aye.
Shuey,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Rosenberg,
Aye.
Tassa,
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye. Motion passes. Donald.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sheeran. Donald, are we going back to number 1 now? Is that what you're thinking? Okay.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
We'll go back to item number 1. Let you introduce it.
Thank you, sir. So, Chris, we skipped ahead one, now we're going back. Okay. No, that's fine. So our next item here is CC's First Edition, a major subdivision. This property here's 52nd Avenue, our landmark Walmart there. As you know, this property has been in play for some years. It was originally rezoned to general commercial in 2007. Starting in 2018, there was some platting of the south part here, but this has remained undeveloped for some years. A variety of things have been proposed on there. Here's just some views along the property here, along 38th Street. There's going to be a new street in here, a new public street bisecting this project. Here we see, looking along 51st Avenue, here's the development on the south side in the Fitzsimmons Edition and its further subdivisions. Under construction in the rear here is a large storage place. And then looking north on 38th Street here, there is residential on this side, and here's the subject property. And then just a few more shots here of the area. As you know, it is an open field. The zoning here is again general commercial with a conditional overlay that was put in place in 2007. There is no proposal to change that conditional overlay at this time. The plat looks like this. There are one very large and 2 somewhat large lots here. There'll be a dedication of a public street here, a rare named street because numbering it would sort of throw the numbering off because of the way 38 bends on here. You will see some negative access easements on here. This is just to protect the curves. We don't want any access coming in off these curves, but there will be other access provided. The main access is going to be, though, off the internal street. Again, just a subdivision here, no zone change. Staff's recommendation is stated in your staff report and shown on the screen. Chris Mack of Christensen Companies joined us here, and he is the representative. We have had no public comment or opposition to this project. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Any questions for Donald? Seeing no questions, we'll ask the applicant. Do you have anything to add? Does anybody have questions for the applicant? Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, anyone else in the audience wish to speak on this item? Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, what are your wishes? Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Shuey,
Aye.
Holtz,
Aye.
Rosenberg,
Aye.
Stoffren,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Tasa,
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye, and the motion passes. Invite Elena up. She's going to go over items 3 and 4 together, but we will handle them separately, but they're connected, so if you're digging through your packet, take a look at both.
Good afternoon, Planning Commissioners. Today I'll be presenting items 3 and 4. These are related cases. These are zone changes to repeal and reestablish conditional overlays. This image shows the distribution of current conditional overlays for this area. For reference, this is Sweet Shots. Oh no. This is Cashwise. The new McDonald's just opened up on this parcel. 52nd Avenue South and Interstate 29 is here to the west. This is the location highlighted in red of the first entitlement is Timber Parkway 8th Edition, and the second one is Timber Parkway 10th Edition. As you can see, a majority of these parcels have conditional overlay 5266 applied to them. This is the most recent conditional overlay in this area. The proposed conditional overlays for both Timber Parkway 8th and 10th editions are based off of conditional overlay 5266. Staff worked with the applicant to modify some of the requirements related to building massing, facade length, and screening of dumpsters and loading areas. The purpose of reestablishing a conditional overlay is for clarity, consistency, and for cleanup, as the properties were unplatted at the time the current conditional overlay was applied. So agenda item number 3 is Timber Parkway 8th Edition, the zone change to repeal and reestablish a conditional overlay. It is located at 5056 Charles Way South. The image on the top left was taken looking southeast across the subject property. The bottom left image was taken looking northeast across the subject property. And the right image was taken looking down Charles Way South, and you can see Timber Parkway 8th Edition is on the left and Timber Parkway 10th is on the right. The zoning designation is to remain as GC with the reestablished conditional overlay. And today, staff has received no inquiries or concerns regarding the application. Chris Mack is here from Christensen Companies to answer any questions that you might have. Staff's recommendation is for approval. And the motion has slightly changed since what was put in your packet, so please cast your vote off of what you see on the screen. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Yeah, go ahead.
Elena, I see in the conditional use that there's no billboards allowed, but it says here there's billboards
That
On
is,
the-
sorry.
on the uses.
Yes, I caught that mistake, that it was not crossed off in the packet, but it is within the CO labeled that billboards are prohibited.
Do we have to do that then? Do we have to cross this out, or is the conditional use fine?
I believe the CUP or the conditional
Okay,
overlay will be updated.
okay, thank you.
as is.
Any other questions for Elena? Seeing none, does the applicant wish to add anything? No, I don't think so. Is there any questions for the applicant? I won't ask why there's so much mud coming into the road on those pictures. Okay, anyone else in the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone else in the public? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Make a motion to approve.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Stoffren,
Aye.
Tassa,
Aye.
Rosenberg,
Aye.
Holtz,
Aye.
Shui,
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye. Motion passes. Number 4, go ahead.
Thank you. Agenda item number 4 is Timber Parkway 10th Edition. Again, this is a zone change to repeal and reestablish the conditional overlay. This subject property is located at 5107 and 5161 Charles Way South. The top image was taken looking southeast across the subject property. The bottom image was taken looking southwest across the subject property. And again, the image on the right was taken looking down Charles Way South, with both cases on either side. The zoning designation is to remain as GC, with the reestablished conditional overlay. To date, staff has received 1 inquiry about the entitlement with no noted concern. Again, Chris Mack is here from Christensen Companies to answer any questions that you might have. And please cast your vote off the recommendation on the screen and not on your packet. Thank you, and that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. Is there any questions for staff? Seeing none, as the applicant, we'll give you an opportunity to add anything. Any questions for the applicant on this one? Seeing none, is there anyone else in the public that wishes to add anything? Anyone else like to add anything? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
I'll make the motion to approve per staff's recommendation.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Holtz,
Aye.
Tassa,
Aye.
Stoffren,
Aye.
Rosenberg,
Aye.
Shui,
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye, and the motion passes. Ask Brad up to the podium for item number 5.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Brad Garcia with Planning Development. Our final item for today is University South 4th Edition. This is the latest chapter in the redevelopment of the old former Kmart site. And this is a request for a conditional use permit for an alternate access plan for off-site parking. And this is University Drive South here to the east of the subject property. And then, of course, I-94 to the north. And then these 2 properties were recently replatted within or before your commission here. I think it was two commissions ago. So again, these are the BSI properties, the existing north property, that's the 1376. It has the senior housing development that's currently under construction. And then here's a picture of that from Oak Manor Drive. And then on the south, this is the retention basin just in the foreground. And then the pile of dirt from the excavation for the new BSI headquarters. And then the zoning for them, these 2 properties, one or the senior housing project is on MR3, and the BSI headquarters is also on GC. There is no change to the zoning. This is just more for reference. And then the applicant is requesting that an alternate access plan be approved to allow off-site parking to support the development of the headquarters building. And then this is a diagram showing the relationship of all the parking between the 2 properties. The north site, the 1376 site with the senior housing project, had a CUP or has a CUP for reduced parking or parking reduction. And that requirement, to fulfill that requirement for that project, is shown in red. And then the parking that's being provided on site for the headquarters building, which is a commercial office, is shown in purple or blue. And then what's being requested with this conditional use permit is the green. And the applicant is really only required to provide 11 parking spots, but they are showing or designating 18 on the multifamily or MR3 lot, so that this could also give some flexibility if they expand their corporate office, that this would still carry through with the expansion. And they did provide a proposed expansion that might happen in the future on these plans as well. And with the alternate access plan for off-site parking, usually agreement is required as part of the requirements if the ownership is different. And technically, the two properties are owned separately by Beyond Shelter Housing LLC, and then the corporate office is BSI Headquarters LLC. But they are owned and managed by the same parent entity. So staff is recognizing that it is the same ownership and that they wouldn't be required to record an agreement with the conditional use permit for it to be effective. But we did add an additional requirement in the following or the conditions that if there is a change of ownership from either of those two entities, that then it would have to be in front of staff review and possibly the planning commission for reapproval. And the staff received no public comment on this case, and Dan Madler with BSI is with us this afternoon. Should commissioners have any questions? And pending any questions for staff, that completes our presentation.
Any questions for Brad? Seeing none, Mr. Madler, I have a question for you if you want, can come up and introduce yourself. So I appreciate the planning commissioner's time today because we've all been here for 4 hours at meetings with Mr. Madler about housing needs and housing affordability. So introduce yourself and I can ask a question related to this item.
Absolutely. Dan Madler, the CEO for Beyond Shelter Incorporated.
Here's my question going through this, and I think Brad did excellent work on this. Just had the question based on our previous meetings about, you know, the difficulty in providing affordable housing and the additional time getting through the processes and things does cost money, right? It impacts the bottom line. Do you feel like if the city didn't have parking requirements for these projects that you would save time and money on providing affordable housing? Would it be easier?
You know, I haven't really given that much thought, and so to answer just one way or the other straight up today, I'm not really sure. I just know that when we need the conditional use permits on our parking, it's usually related to our senior developments. And from the data we know, you know, 70% of the residents have a vehicle. And so depending on where we're developing, sometimes it's not an issue. But it's a process, and usually more often than not, that's not the only request. And so we're dovetailing the conditional use permit on possibly a zone change, because this lot had a zone change as well. And so it's just incorporating all of that in one package if we can. However, that doesn't always work. And so now I think this is the third or fourth time we're here for a CUP and or an adjustment to either zoning and or parking. Saving money, possibly, but I don't know if it would be impactful.
Thanks, appreciate that. Any other questions for the applicant? Not, thanks for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Anyone else in the public wish to add anything? Anyone else in the public want to add anything? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
And Chair, I will add one more
Yeah, go ahead.
comment, is that there is a 10-day appeal period after approval, should you approve the application.
Thank you for that. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Move to approve as presented?
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Tassa,
Aye.
Shui,
Aye.
Stoffren,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Holtz,
Aye.
Rosenberg,
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye, and the motion passes. That concludes our agenda unless staff has anything additional. Seeing none, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and we're adjourned.
Aye.
Oh, thanks, Scott.